Hi everyone, this is your final wrap up for 223 Content Area Literacy and Language in the Elementary Education major. I just want to reiterate a few things as we finish up our last moments of togetherness. We will be meeting on December 10th during our final time, which is actually regular time, 5:30, and we'll also be in Studio Teach again so that we can see our other rounds of playgrounds. First round of playgrounds completed. As you can kind of see, a smattering of presentations that occurred during that time. I felt like our playground was a big success. Thank you to those who provided feedback on the experiences. It's something that I've never even done myself as a teacher, but just wanted to take a risk and try with all of you. I hope that this has done something for your thinking in regards to teaching and learning, especially when we think about content area literacy and we think about what it means to learn content. A certain announcement in regards to this would be because we've gotten round one completed, those of you who participated as presenters during round one, you should have Slacked feedback from me. The disconnect for some of you, though, and I'm also saying this for those going into round two, is that Journal 3 was expected to be posted when you were the presenter. Some of you may have had that finished, but maybe forgot to post that on your page and I couldn't access it. Those going into round two on Monday the 10th, make sure that I can access that because I will not have enough time to touch base with you to see if that's completed. So this is just a general announcement about Journal 3. I didn't really make mention of that last week, so I want to kind of throw that out there again to make sure that that's completed by everybody. And again, feedback is on Slack for those that did participate, those going into playgrounds next week and actually are the presenters. I will Slack you feedback once you've completed your playground within that final week. Our collaboration inquiry was the other thing that we did. That was our other half of our class that night on Monday night. You were able to get into your groups the week prior. This week you were able to keep going with your groups. Many of you I noticed had an outline, you had a game plan, you had an action plan in terms of how you're going to be constructing your answers around our essential questions in this course. I really want you to think about the big picture of content area literacy. Many of you are really thinking about a lot of details. Please think about some of the big ideas that we've talked about in regards to how to answer that question. I liked how many of you were addressing specific contents because maybe being a literacy teacher in math looks a lot different than being a literacy teacher in science and so on and so forth. So feel free to experiment how you want to dissect those questions. But just know I want you to really think about this in regards to our big picture ideas that we've touched on throughout our coursework. And then also, too, we want this in video format so that after our playgrounds and we can just sit back and celebrate and look at all the things that mean to content area literacy and how you've attempted to answer this question. On the class webpage, I believe I went over this, but I'm going to reiterate this again in case my old brain did not go over this. There's a space on the class webpage that does house this material, and I'll make sure to put that in a color that stands out on the website so that when you do have your video completed, you can embed the link or whatever on that webpage. You can embed the video itself if you'd like. Just so that we have one central place and we can just watch them all at once without having to worry about logging in, so on and so forth. And then lastly, the other thing that I want to touch on, just because this is kind of coming to the end here, is the idea of grade rationale. Some of you have started this already and you've passed that on to me just to get some feedback in terms of if you were on the right track to talk about your grades. I don't mind giving feedback in that capacity. If you Slack things to me, please just give me enough time to turn that around and give you feedback. I'll be happy to do that. Please understand grade rationales are due no later than December 13th, which I believe is that Thursday. I leave that because I know that grades are due the following week for me, and in case I need to reach out to you if there's something that's disconnected that we don't see eye to eye, then I want to have enough time for us to network with each other. I really want you to think about a couple things if you haven't approached your grade rationale yet. I want you to think back to the class exercise on being the teacher. Please know that it's not easy necessarily being the teacher in this situation, because if there isn't honesty with the student, then it becomes disconnected. And I want you to really think about the honesty that you can impose on your learning process. But then we also talked about the idea of, we don't have to be so hard on ourselves either. So really think deeply, think critically about your work as a professional, the idea of thinking, acting, speaking, writing like a teacher, especially when it comes to being a literacy teacher, and more specifically in content area literacies. Okay. Definitely use our class resources. Anything is up for grabs. Everything has been posted at this point, and you can use other ideas to shape your thinking as well. And then please note that this is the big thing, because I don't want people to know this material. This is information between just you and I only, that you want to slack your rationale. So you're not going to be posting that on your student portfolio page. This is not a collaborative piece of information. This is something that you and I will slack back and forth. Some students choose to write out a Slack and they message me. Some choose to do a Google Doc of sorts, and then send me the link. You are free to do your grade rationale how you wish to do it. I believe my example is a Google Doc, but again, you can do it how you like. Just again, a reminder that that's a Slack message between you and myself. All right. If you have any questions going into this final week, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. And no, you're not seeing things. You're not hearing things. You actually get a wrap up on Wednesday, which is, I think, record timing for me. I finally get it. And now I have to let you go. Oh, and if I don't get a chance to say it on Monday night, I have been so thankful to work with such a great group of future teachers. And if there's anything that I can do for you in the future, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. It has been a great semester. Thanks.